everybody, and welcome to our Grumpy Old Men for this week. Great to have you with us as we're about to get a glass of water delivered and 2 glasses as well.
Yeah, I asked her for 2 glasses. Thank you.
Okay. We've also got a live studio audience today.
Mm-hmm. Pressure's on.
Basically, people who just happen to be here.
Yeah, I think they're lost. Nobody ever comes to Turtle Beach on purpose.
No.
I think they're lost.
Now, I've got a very bitey lemon soda. No sugar. And you just had a coffee delivered. And thank you, Nam Plau. And I've got the... we got this because Steve is just in one of those moods, and I think he's going to misbehave today. And great to report the return of the shaky table. So, no, there we go.
Ain't me.
And you can hear in the distance both the waves of the Andaman Sea washing on the virgin shores of Thailand, better known as
Turtle Beach.
And the fishermen have been out today catching shrimp. So that's sort of where we're at. Now, the restaurant we're at.
Oh, this is George Pizza, which is perhaps the oldest, well, it's the only Falang-style restaurant on the beach. And it's been here forever. And it's actually built in the national park. Don't tell anybody.
In fact, it's the only restaurant on the beach.
Yeah, it's the only restaurant where your feet are in sand. And that's why don't tell anybody. Yeah, but there won't be any others. They're never going to build another restaurant, bar, house, bungalow, anything in the national park. So this is quite unique for the beach. And George himself is from the Philippines. He speaks very good English. So this place is very popular because it has a sign outside that says tourist information in English. And so before people had phones to do their translating, everybody would come to George to ask, where can I stay? Where's a bungalow? Et cetera, et cetera. And so he has done very well on the strength of his language skills.
And it's an overcast day, but nice enough for us to get out and about. Very sunny morning, but we are sort of in the latter stages of our wet season for southern Thailand. And the tourists are on their way, so we're being told. and coming back from Bangkok airport last night on a 10 p.m. flight, it was packed to the gunnels. Mostly Chinese tourists. And they were all headed to Phuket for a big weekend or a longer holiday. Although the Chinese only tend to come for a couple of days, just is the way that they do their travel. But good to see the plane full and...
their money spends.
Sure.
Yeah.
Money's as good as anybody else's.
Now, can I say, you had mentioned we had some sunshine this morning for the first time in 3 days. And, I first sustained sunshine. That's why you're hearing all these boat motors. They're netting these kui, they're a krill, tiny little shrimp, and they dry them on the beach and they sell them. They make kapi, the shrimp paste out of it, and it's very, very popular. And this beach is famous for our krill, and they can only do it when the sun comes out because they have to be dried right away on the beach, otherwise they begin to rot. So that's why at this moment you're hearing pakada, 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 pakada behind us. They're going up and down the beach.
What are we hearing?
Pakada, 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 pakada.
Could you spell that for me?
P-A-K-A, 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 P-A-K-A.
Oh, pakada, pakada. Oh,
yeah, I'm not done. P-A-K-A, P-A-K-A, full stop.
And that's all the time we've got today on the program. But
for this week with OCD with Steve.
Now, you do like a bit of musical theatre.
A lot. I very much love the canon of the American musical theatre.
And you've been involved in a lot of different plays and musical theatre.
Yeah. Sure.
Have you ever warbled a tune in a musical theatre show? Have you been invited?
Yes, I played a role in a play called Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum.
Oh, a favourite.
I played Senex, the old cuckold.
Xanax?
Senex.
Oh, Senex, okay.
S-E-N-E-X, in which is embedded the word sex, because that's his motivation. He has been offered this
typecast.
Beautiful virgin, this 17-year-old virgin, who's been given a love potion that makes her super horny, but only for a very short period of time. So he spends the whole play chasing this teenage girl around the stage. And for some reason, they thought that I would do well in that role. And I had to sing. in that show, and so I did. Yeah. I was better at the slapstick and the prop comedy. I excel at prop comedy, but singing, I can hit the middle of a note. And if I get enough practice, if I can get 6 weeks of rehearsal, I can stand in the third row and provide support for the real singers. I'm not a singer or even any kind of performer by any means. But, you know, when you're a techie, just like the actors have to sew costumes and paint scenery, the techies have to go on stage and hold a spear in King Lear. And so I've been on stage a few times. The first job, I have a bachelor's degree in theater arts, and the first thing I ever did in college was take a truck to the dump and get chain link fencing and old steel drums for the alleyway scene in West Side Story. That was the beginning of my education in the theater, and then I went on to have a roughly 10-year career in theater and film. And it all began with ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Da-da.
Yeah, right.
So, which is a great segue, and we'll get to that in just a moment, because I went to see West Side Story up in Bangkok. My poor audience have heard about this for the past 3 days ad nauseum. But anyway, we're going to talk about it.
They haven't heard from me, so shut up. Go on.
So, but we were talking about a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum, which I think is a very underrated musical, which we haven't really seen revived, unlike a lot of other shows. You picked a good chair there.
Well, it
This
has.
could fail at any moment, make a great moment.
One of the most famous deaths on stage was an actor playing Senex, my role, in the original Broadway production, and he died on stage, which is how every actor wants to die. You ask any professional actor, how do you want to die? He wants to die on stage.
Do you know Tommy Cooper?
No.
English comedian, probably the funniest man that's ever been born.
Sorry, go on. Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
Tommy
I
Cooper,
love British humor. Don't flame me in the comments.
He used to wear a fez, a Turkish hat, and he was very funny. He used to laugh at his own jokes.
So do I.
Oh dear, we picked a good time. Well, it's a few spots of rain. Well, I'm thinking it's rain. We are sitting under a tree. Anything could happen.
And we are in Panga in the rainy season, so go figure.
West Side Story. Now, the reason I just wanted to briefly cover it today, because at the time it was, in broadest terms, it's just a reworking of Romeo and Juliet, the tragedy, Shakespeare's
in
tragedy.
Undergraduate terms, yes. Graduate students don't go that route, but yes, undergrads will see it that way.
But originally, when they were putting the show together, this is Leonard Bernstein,
Stephen Sondheim,
Stephen Sondheim, Jerome Robbins, who was
doing the dance,
the choreography,
the Dream Ballet.
and there was a writer of the book, because it was an original work based roughly on Romeo and Juliet. But originally, the story was going to be centered around Catholics and Jews.
Really?
As the sort of the warring factions.
Oh, I know. There's plenty of reasons they went away from that.
With Sondheim, Bernstein.
I don't. There's no conflict there. There's no record of. In New York City. I lived in New York City for 10 years.
Well, they weren't using sort of flick knives against each other.
The Jews and the Catholics.
A political rivalry or
my guilt is greater than your guilt. No, my guilt is greater. I'm going to stab you. No, I don't see that. I'm glad they went a different direction with it. Yeah.
So when they were putting the show together in the mid-50s, I mean, obviously the Catholic and the Jewish thing was a bit of a more of a thing than it is today. And I would have thought it was like an area for humour in the bar, but I didn't really think you could probably get away with a musical about it.
I know a dozen priest and rabbi jokes off the top of my head.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. That's a different play. That's a different kind of show.
But
that's more Forum. Forum comes out of that. The Catskill Jewish humor tradition. That's where Forum is born.
So anyway, they did switch to Puerto Ricans and the local
Irish,
the local Irish sort of immigrants. Fighting amongst immigrants, gangs. Mm-hmm. So it covers immigration, racism, and of course
guns.
I don't want to sort of give the story away, but there are 3 people killed during the show. Great way to end the first act. 2 people dead on stage.
Come back next time. See what happens.
I mean, somebody's shot in the film, and so you've got the gun control issues. And I'm thinking, when they eventually opened this up at the theatres in 1957, It must have been such a shock. I mean, musical theatre was a much more sort of generally happy sort of thing that you'd go to. And this was quite a shock musically, dance-wise. It was very syncopated, very physical.
Even just the fact that the song, Everything Free in America, does not include the verb is, because they are Puerto Ricans and English is a second language. Singing on Broadway in dialect had not been done before. Everybody sang very clearly, and you could have an English accent, but you didn't have, Puerto Rican slum accent on Broadway. And just that small a thing, the lack of a verb was revolutionary at the time.
Yeah, and here's a fun fact, Steve.
Okay.
When they were looking to cast Tony, who's the male lead in the show, who falls in love with Maria.
The weakest role in the whole show.
Yes,
Go on. Yeah. He's nothing. He's
bit
a
of
cipher.
a wimp, really.
Yeah, he's a cipher.
But they were looking to get James Dean to play the role, because he was the thing in the mid-50s.
He might have added some depth, perhaps, to the character, yeah.
But he went and had a car crash, which put an end to that particular...
Could he sing?
Obviously, because Tony does have a couple of big songs.
Ooh,
Tonight
he's got to sing, yeah. He's got to sing.
Part of Somewhere, so...
Yeah. I've never heard if James Dean could sing. He couldn't drive. I don't know if he could sing or not. Yeah, he needed a couple lessons. Yeah,
But we're nearly 70 years after this show was conceived and hit the stage, and a lot of the issues that they were addressing, and obviously were very timely. Not so much the gang warfare in New York, but the issues of racism,
immigration,
and gun control.
Immigration has led the. I've begun watching American news again, and this week every single newscast begins with, "We're having a surge at the southern border, South Texas," and this happens periodically. Surges of Latin American refugees, and these. I think 75% of them are Venezuelans. So this is a topic. It's at the top of the news. Immigration, Latin American immigration. Now Puerto Rico is part of the United States, so it's a very different thing. Those are not immigrants. Those are simply people moving to New York City. As I moved from Iowa to New York City, they moved from Puerto Rico. They're American citizens. But the idea of immigration, of populations moving back and forth. Is still, top of the charts.
Hot topic.
First item in the news.
There was an election in Australia, I think it was 1976, where the government at the time were not doing well in the surveys and the polls leading up to the election day, and just about a week before the election, they just unleashed this completely imaginary immigration story. Boat people are coming to take over Australia. We're going to protect the borders, and they won the election. Pretty much just around, and there has been plenty of other politicians that have used the immigration card to get elected as well. Yeah. It's a hot topic. But I lived in a country that was pretty much made on the back of immigration.
Me too.
And America the same.
I was made by immigrants.
But it's okay once you're there, or your family have been there for a couple of generations. We're okay here, but nobody else is allowed to come.
Yeah.
It's this sort of NIMBY, not in my backyard.
That's called the close the door after me argument.
Yeah. So I watched the musical with interest, and I was thinking it's still timely, and it does translate well.
And if is it still running? If you're in Bangkok listening to this, can you? No, it's done. But this is part of a big arts fest this year in Bangkok.
The Bangkok International Festival, which they do every year.
And I've seen the advertisements. I will go to Bangkok on Monday to attend.
Which we'll talk about.
Yeah. But I had not gone to see anything in the arts festival. That was not.
They had Aida.
Yeah, Aida.
Swan Lake.
Yeah, it looks, and there's something Chinese. Dream of the Red Chamber, I think, is on tonight. I'm seeing that ad. Yay, Bangkok. Good for you. I always complain that there's no culture in Bangkok. It's Mexico City without the culture. But here you go. Here's something to look at. I remember there used to be a Cat Theater, K-A-T, probably pronounced Kat or something. Back in the 90s, somebody built a state-of-the-art live performance stage, and they wanted to launch it with The King and I, which of course is verboten. It's against the law. That's lèse majesté. And I don't know whatever happened to that. I never heard of anything else being done in that theater. If you know, in the comments, let me know. What's happening at the Kat Theater?
This show was on at the Thailand Cultural Centre, which shares the name with an MRT station, which is also called the
I don't know.
Thailand Cultural Centre.
Oh,
So
shares the name.
I made the what turned out to be a mistake by thinking I'm going to go to the Thailand Cultural Centre by making my way to the MRT station called Thailand Cultural Centre, only to be slightly shocked to find that I had another 30 minutes of walking to do.
Oh, you newbie.
And, of course, I went up to every motorcycle taxi driver and say, "Excuse me, where's the Thailand?" And I was...
And they point up the stairs to the MRT.
And they would all go, "Oh, we've heard this 1,000 times before." Another idiot foreigner. And I'd go, "Thailand," and they'd go, "It's up this way." And they must have been asked 100 times. And they park themselves out the front there to take you to the Thailand Cultural Centre, which, by the way, is a very, very nice theatre. Probably holds about, I'm guessing about 800 or 900, quite a big theatre. And the show was patronised by the US ambassador to Thailand, who turned up and presented flowers at the end.
Of course.
I went up to say, "Hello, ambassador." He looked at me. He had no idea who I was.
I don't have it.
So I thought, I'm not going to interview him.
Didn't they do a scene, one of the dances, I think it's Everything Free in America, they do against a giant American flag.
Yeah.
So he's bound by his contract to show up.
And I think the embassy was throwing a bit of money at the
Perhaps,
the musical festival as well.
I'll tell you what, that show puts my country in a fairly positive light. Even though they're stabbing and everything else, the fact that we produced a piece of art like this,
it is a piece of art.
It reflects well on my country and on the city of New York City, because it was all New Yorkers who put this thing together.
It's not even close to my favourite musical, but it is certainly one of the most important pieces of art, musical theatre art ever made, because it changed every single bit of musical theatre that was made after it. So anyway, West Side Story.
Enough? Have we satisfied all the live theatre fans in the audience? Is that enough?
All two of them.
Yeah,
We've lost all the football, the cricketers, they've gone.
Well, they're not talking about Walking Street. I'm not going to watch this.
Yeah. So I didn't go to Soy Cowboy when I was in Bangkok. I'm sorry to disappoint. I spent most of my time walking around trying to find the Thailand Cultural Centre, which at least I know where to go next time. I hope they do another big show next year.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if they did do The King and I? That would be great.
It would demonstrate a shift in this nation that I don't think we're going to see for years. Because there's so much, first of all, just somebody touching the king. That's death. So when she dances with him, "Shall we dance?" Bum, bum, bum.
All right.
If you can call what he does dancing. The touching is shocking to Thai people. The fact that he's a clown. Now, Yul Brynner, made the decision to play him as a clown, particularly in that number. "Shall we dance?" He's out there barefoot going slap, slap, slap. And as you pointed out, he mugs to the camera in the movie. That portraying
breaking the fourth
wall. And being a clown, being the object of hilarity to the people of this nation, they're the royalty or demigods. You don't do that. There are people who light candles and incense to photos of the king.
They could get a foreigner to play the part. Maybe that would be a way of getting around that
I think that
problem.
you'd get your theater burned down. I don't know. I
they
honestly,
could ask me.
They could.
I've got the hair.
It's a bass roll, isn't it? Do you sing bass? Isn't that the...
Whatever it takes.
Etc. I think it's a bass roll.
I think you got to smoke about 2 packs of Craven A day to do it, though.
Yeah, and shave your head. Oh, never mind. Yeah, it's a wonderful... I think that and this is enough musical theater. I swear to God, I'll shut up right now. The March of the Siamese Children in that show, The King and I, is the most sublime piece of music the genre has ever produced. That's it. I'm done. I'll stop talking about theater. Thank you for your patience.
So we're going to talk about... What else were we going to talk about?
I have noticed that if you add the word scams to your description, you get a lot more views. So you want to talk about scams?
Yes. Now, we were going to talk about scams because we are very near the close of... very close to the start of high season this year.
And the Vegetarian Festival if you're here in South
The
Thailand.
Vegetarian Festival starts next Saturday or Sunday.
I think the 14th. No, that's Duen Sips, the 14th. Yeah,
Anyway,
look at the moon. When
Middle
it's-
of October.
Yeah, watch the moon. It'll let you know.
And we'll talk more about that when it's
When
happening.
it's happening.
And we'll, they come
I'll be
along,
in the hospital when
do they
it's
come
happening.
along the front here? Do they
Oh,
march?
God, yes. No,
Yeah.
they bring the effigies. You know, the effigies are kept in the Santao, the Chinese temple up at the plaza, at the Siyak, the four-way intersection. There's a huge procession with 1,000 people dressed in white. They come down the hill
I look
carrying
shocking in
9
white.
effigies
Right.
to the beach here, and they
and
ritually present the gods to the sea, because all these people here trace their lineage to a single wooden boat that came from Hokkien, China 175 years ago. And there is a giant wooden boat in the parade as well.
How do you get here from... There's a whole peninsula you
Yeah,
have to sail
yeah.
around.
Well, I don't know if they trekked
they got
across the
lost.
peninsula or came, but there was tin here. Enormous amounts of money to be made here. So the people who had money said, bring me a boatload of peasants. And somebody got a boat, loaded it with peasants. Probably 100 died in the passage, and 700 made it here. Only men. They weren't allowed to bring their wives or any women. And so they married with locals, and that's why we have a Chinese language school in town. We have a Chinese temple. We have a Ginjay festival. And on the beach, I'll tell you what, 1,000 people, all dressed in white, except last year the one Falang who didn't know what was going on. The big tall guy.
What's going on here?
Yeah, in a black shirt, holding my selfie stick up in the air in the middle of the crowd. Yeah, everybody but him is dressed in white, and everybody's dead silent on this beach. And they do the ritual, and they present the things, and the guys are cutting themselves and whipping themselves, and blood everywhere. And then they march back to the up that, it's about 3 kilometers, I think. And they leave the beach, 1,000 people, and there's nothing on the sand except spent firecrackers.
And
There's-
blood.
And a little bit of blood. But there's no plastic bottles, no trash, no leftover food. These people are immaculate. They leave the beach immaculate. It is stunning to watch. And then you got 9 days of absolute
Mayhem.
and bizarreness up in the And again, 1,000 people crammed into this little town square, shoulder to shoulder, all in white.
And most of the processions are led by a ma song. And the ma song's usually in a trance. And they've got all these piercings through their cheeks.
It's bloody. Man, it's a bloody event.
Yeah.
It's a bloody 9 days.
And they walk across hot coals,
coals,
and
yeah.
all sorts of things.
And every place will tell you it started here. Krabi will tell you it started here. Trang will tell you it started here. Phuket will tell you it started here. These people will tell you it started on Turtle Beach. That guy revving that engine right now, that 12-cylinder truck motor on that little wooden boat, he would tell you that his great-great-great-great-grandfather was the first guy to cut his tongue with a blade. They all think it started where they live. Yeah, it's Pinoy.
They haven't done a lot of sound insulation
No.
on these engines.
No. A muffler slows you down, and you're out in the middle of the water. Who cares what noise you make?
Anyway, good luck to those fishermen as they head out to sea.
I hope they keep their hearing. I hope that,
What?
Yeah, exactly.
So scams.
So
I don't know
scams.
how we got to Chinese,
Yeah.
onto the vegetarian festival. We'll tell you more about that because it is an amazing festival with its roots back to China.
Yeah.
But when it comes to scams, you would know of most of the main scams. If you've been to Thailand a few times, you would have fallen for a few of them, even if you don't admit it. One of the modern ones that I've fallen for is buying things online. Now, I buy a lot of things online on Lazada. There's Shopee, they're the two best known Thai online shopping, and they're fairly well regulated, so you're fairly safe buying something on one of those because if it doesn't get delivered, there's a way that you can get your money back and da-da-da-da-da. But a lot of people, they just advertise 2 boats. How dare they?
Yeah, they got to catch those shrimp while the sun is shining. So they're going up and down, up and down, up and down the coast. Right here, they've got these long scoop nets, and they get pushed in front of the boat, and they dip as they go along, and they get a scum of these krill on the nets. And
I wonder how they
roll it
know
up.
where they are. Do they have a drone to sort of...
I don't know. I've never asked. I don't know.
Okay.
But in the mornings, every morning, doesn't matter what the morning is, You come out just at dawn, and there'll be 5 or 6 fishermen standing on the edge of the sea, just staring out to sea.
They know what to look for.
Yeah, deciding if they want to risk their lives on a leaky wooden boat today and a 30-year-old 12-cylinder truck motor, or stay home and look at their phones all day.
Scams. So online
I digress.
scams. People put things on Facebook or TikTok or even Twitter. So, what's it called now? X. Great business decision that was. So
he's on the spectrum, man. He's on the spectrum.
The single most stupid business decision ever made. Anyway, so
what's 10 years of brand equity?
Yeah,
throw it out the window.
Yeah. And for those people that have got X shares, good luck to you.
Yeah.
But scams.
Yeah.
Speaking of scams,
we have a topic this week. Believe it or not, we'll get there.
People often, but every day, will buy something on one of these social media platforms where there's no comeback at all. Now, I've bought so far, I think it's only 2 pairs of shoes separately, because they put the pictures of these shoes and you go to their Facebook page and there's all these different shoes and send your money here and you send your money there, and then you wait patiently. And well, suffice to say, I've been barefoot because those shoes never arrived.
Yeah.
And they were very funky shoes. But they're never going to arrive. I've been waiting for about 2 years now, and I think I've reached the stage where I've come to terms with the fact that
he's gone through the 5 stages of shoe grief.
Yes. Yeah. So they're not coming. But people every day do fall to these very appealing looking ads. Now, it could be something as expensive as like cosmetic surgery. People, they have like befores and afters.
Lawyer services, visa services. Yeah.
So you can fall for... So these are not like objects you
condos,
go to buy.
villas.
That don't turn up. These are services or companies that don't exist.
Yeah.
Pay your deposit for a free consultation, and of course, they don't exist. And then you try and contact them, there's no one to contact. They've gone, the Facebook page is down, and the police go, well, silly you.
Caveat emptor.
So that's a scam. I would say to a lot of people, be very careful when you're shopping online because... and also passion scams, love scams. I just need a bit of money, dear. If you could send me some cash so I can get my visa so I can come and live with you and shower you with pearls and diamonds. And the love scams. The Thais are the ones that fall for those. They're not Thais scamming other people. That's foreigners scamming Thais, often Nigerian.
Everybody wants love. Now, I know a scam, and I've never had enough money to ever be scammed on a condo or a villa or a car. I've never bought anything bigger than a refrigerator in this country, and I never will. But I know that for a bar girl, dating a falang is really risky to your family's health. As soon as you take up with a falang, oh, my aunt had to go to the hospital. Oh, my father died. My daughter has to have surgery for appendix. I need 20,000 baht. And if you can ever get hold of a bar girl's phone, you look at her library of photos, and there's all these photos of Thai people in hospital beds and lying on the pavement and bloody knees and broken motorcycles. She's got a whole encyclopedia of disease, death, and doom on her phone.
This is taken over from the buffalo, the sick buffalo.
Yes! Oh, nobody has buffalo anymore, right? They're only in the cultural centers. You can see a buffalo where you can see an elephant. Nobody, has... And don't write in the comments, well, my wife owns 15 buffaloes. That brings me to something else, which I will get to when we need another topic. But... what I'm saying is, a very common scam is that as soon as a sucker takes one of these girls for more than a night, all of a sudden her whole family is in crisis, and there's all these urgent needs. All of a sudden, tilak da, oh tilak da, look, and they'll go so far. Funerals are public events in this country. Anybody can attend any funeral. And typically you go, you put 20 baht in an envelope, and you eat the best Thai food you'll ever eat, because at the Wat is where the best Thai food is made. They save the best ingredients and the best recipes for the monks. Of course they do, because you're earning merit with the effort of making that food. You don't make merit with the food. You make merit with the effort you put into acquiring that food and making that food. So that's the best food you'll ever eat. So a lot of people go to funerals just for the food. If there's a funeral at the Wat down the street, they'll go eat lunch there. And you can also take a picture in front of the casket, in front of the big picture of the deceased. So what a lot of girls do, and I suppose perhaps boys as well, is they'll go to any old funeral in black and white clothing. They'll take a photo of themselves in front of the casket looking sad. And then when they need it, they pull that out, they put on that same black and white shirt, and they say, look, I went to my uncle's funeral today. I didn't know he was dying, and I just found out today, and I went to the funeral, and if we don't pay 20,000 baht to burn the body, they'll throw him in the river. Please, I need 20,000 baht. And, all you need is a shirt and a phone to take the picture, and you get a meal for 20 baht. You get a terrific meal. So that's one of the other photos they'll have in their library.
So that's just another one of these scams, and it has taken over somewhat from the sick buffalo.
The buffalo's dying, the buffalo's sick. Yeah, not anymore.
So, and for those people that say, oh, I'd never fall for that, I bet some of you have. And
more than once, perhaps. Because we all want to believe, don't we? We want to believe her or him. We want to believe that we have found a partner. We found, even if it's for a week, you're on holiday and you meet somebody who takes you to the umbrella factory or whatever and interprets for you and orders your food at the restaurant, and hey, this is pretty great.
The umbrella factory?
Well, up in the north, they have umbrella factories. Yeah. At any rate, she acts as tour guide. And she rubs your feet, and she lets you watch your favorite TV. She lets you control the remote on the TV, whatever, for a week. Yeah, and you want to believe that this is it.
And
this is the real
rubbing
thing.
More than just your feet too.
Well, that goes without saying, but that we expect from a commercial sex worker anywhere in the world. The washing my socks, the washing my dishes, no, we don't, from the West, we don't expect that, and we think that makes her special. She's not like these other girls, and oh, her mama is sick, and the bank's going to foreclose on the farm up north, and oh, I need to help her out. She really needs me to help her out. We want to believe that that is the truth, and we are willing to overlook all kinds of faults, all kinds of red flags. That guy she calls P, elder brother, back up country. She's awfully affectionate with. It's almost as if they're man and wife.
Funny that.
Yeah, but she says he's P. He's my big brother. And we overlook that. Back in our own countries, no. All kinds of bat signals, all kinds of spidey sense would tell us, walk away.
But it is like a tale as old as time, and it happens again and again, and it will happen again and again and again anyway.
That's why you can write a musical based on an old romantic story from the 1600s about Romeo and Juliet, which was based on an Italian story from the 1300s, which was probably based on a local village tale that was 1,000 years old. We tell, James Campbell
there wasn't any buffaloes in Romeo and Juliet. I'm very sure about
when
that.
I direct it, there will be.
Yes.
Some chai and nong chai.
Yes. Okay, so you said I have to remind you about another topic. I bet you've forgotten what it was.
Steve got it wrong. Listen,
no.
I'm going to cede the point on this, all right? I'm tired of arguing about it. This last week, they've been beating me up in the comment section. I don't know why, but last week was Kick Steve week. And one of the things was, last week I said, and I will try to quote, rice farmers have always been historically the lowest caste of society in this kingdom. Oh my God. My wife owns 600 acres of rice land. She's not the lowest caste. All right, look, your wife is a landowner. She's not a rice farmer. She pays rice farmers to work her land, all right? If you're a landowner, no, I wasn't talking about you. If you've got any money at all, I'm not talking about you. The rice farmers are the really, really dark-skinned people who work out in the fields for pennies under conical hats and live in wooden houses on stilts. That's who I'm talking about. But you guys have beaten me down, so I'm going to give you this one. Okay, rice farmers are not the bottom rung of the social ladder in Thailand. the agrarian poor are. Okay? I amend my words. I have edited myself so you can stop being nasty in the comment section. All right? Thank you.
Now, speaking of comment sections, and
Yes.
there has been quite. It's been one of those weeks actually.
Yeah, right? What was it with this week?
So I met some people yesterday, and oh God, I've forgotten their name. Oh dear, I mentioned them in the Fun Friends Bangkok. There you go. Was that it? Fun Friends. I told you to remember it. Fun Friends Bangkok.
Oh, right. It was a group. You met in a mall food
Yeah.
court? Yeah. Okay, Fun Friends Bangkok. Yeah.
So I was sitting in a food court at M Court here, which is quite upmarket. Some people just arrived. I
We're
think
trendsetters,
more
man.
of our
We bring crowds wherever we go.
studio audience arriving late.
I wonder what they paid for their tickets.
So I was at the food court, and I'm almost ashamed to say, but one thing I do miss living here is there's no good Indian restaurants, and I do like
Or any Indian restaurant.
I do like the occasional bit of Indian food. I just happen to like it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So
I do too.
I was-
Naan bread is the best bread on the planet.
So I went to
Sorry, the French and the Germans, but naan, I just like naan.
So I went to this food court, and I had a butter chicken or something, and a person came up and said, "You're that guy on YouTube." And I thought, yes.
Yes, I'm Bangkok Pat. Nice to meet you.
I should say that. And that would really throw them.
Yeah.
And then they sort of da-da-da-da-da, and off they went. And then only a moment later, you're that guy from YouTube. And I thought, oh, this is a bit strange, two in one day. And then what got up to about the 10th person, I thought, hang on, something's going on here. And then one of them volunteered the information that they were having their weekly meeting, and they meet at Starbucks. I've got to be careful what I say here, because I'm not sure if I'm meant to publicise the group or not.
Oh, well, too late.
Well, there's about 20 Starbucks at M Court here, so it could be anywhere. I think I've probably given it away. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Very nice group of people, quite eclectic, and expats that get together, and then they meet at that American coffee shop. Then they
Near the Indian restaurant.
They then eat and solve the problems of the world. I think they end up at some chocolate factory or something after that, and then probably get pissed at some sort of local pub. But there you go. Very nice people. So hello to Fun Friends Bangkok. And they were telling me about this app where you can, I don't know. I didn't get it all because I'm a bit slow. But they were very nice people, and thank you for coming to say hello.
Yeah.
It was nice to meet you all.
Yeah. I'll be in Bangkok next week. I don't do food courts, but if you want to come up and tell me you're that asshole on YouTube, aren't you?
Yeah.
Any attention is good attention.
Any rice farmers that want to go and meet Steve in Bangkok.
Any rice farmers that want to
Yeah.
put me in my place, put on your red shirt and come get me.
So,
Yeah.
red shirt.
Yeah.
So now tell us, Steve, why are you going to Bangkok on
Oh.
Monday?
There will be a premiere of a short film adapted from a short story I wrote about 20 years ago called Gone in a Moment, a film by James Newman, produced by Roy Bott, and DP director's name escapes me, I'm sorry. But at any rate, they have produced professionally a short film based on one of my old short stories. The story is collected. If you're I'm no money. Just they know
Gee.
Steve Ross. It's all ego for Steve Ross. I don't need money. My government pays me to sit on this beach.
Did
and
they
do
ask
jack
you
shit.
first?
No, they told me that they
Oh.
were doing it.
Okay.
Listen, it's in the public domain. I posted this story on Stickman
right.
about 10 years ago. It's out in the public. Anybody can take my stories that are on Stickman and other sites around the web. Anything that's been made public that way, I believe, is in the public domain. I'm not sure, but I think so. At any rate, I don't need money from these guys. I just need their attention and their praise and you see how it affects me and my name on the film. So it will be Tuesday the 10th at a place called The Tavern, which is a bar/restaurant somewhere near Nana. It's just off Sukhumvit on a Soy. I'd look it up. The Tavern in Bangkok. And the red carpet is at 7 o'clock.
Red carpet?
Well, that's what I'm calling. People are showing up starting at 7 o'clock.
What are you wearing? Because that's the most important
I'm
thing
wearing
on the red carpet.
A checkered shirt with a ballpoint pen in the pocket and a pack of cigarettes. That's what I always wear. And I never wear pants. You want to see?
No, sit down
right.
quick.
So at any rate, Tuesday the 10th, and I will be there, yeah. That's why I'm saying this, isn't it? And Tuesday the 10th, 7 o'clock, you can start to show up. 8 o'clock, the film begins. And, if it's raining cats and dogs and only 5 people show up, I'll buy you each a beer. If 500 people show up, because they all want to kick Steve's ass, then no, I'm not buying anybody beers. But I'm very, very grateful to James Newman and Roy Bott for doing this, and I hope you guys like it. I don't know what kind of distribution James and Roy are thinking of when it's finished. I don't know.
It's going on to YouTube?
Well, James has a YouTube channel called JD Strange, which is really interesting. He does a lot of really interesting film work. He knows all about the editing and the lighting and everything else I don't know about. I could build sets for James and Roy. That's all I could do for James and Roy.
Was it made on film or did they shoot it on
on
video?
I doubt anything's made on film anymore. I'm sure it's zeros and ones in a camera.
Well, don't tell the man who made Oppenheimer. That was all made on film.
Well, yeah, auteurs, I think, still do that. And there might be somebody out there still lighting by limelight. I don't know, but these guys, I think, in Bangkok, I think they probably had a camera.
Do you make a cameo appearance?
No, I was never anywhere near it. All I did was post some short stories online.
Didn't they sort of need some grumpy old curmudgeon in the corner, sort of puffing on a fag? And
it is actually a film about old curmudgeons sitting in a bar.
Oh, okay.
So I could have sat in the background, but I don't go to Bangkok, unless my life depends on it. I don't like that place.
Or somebody's turning one of your short stories into a movie.
Yeah, show me a little attention, and yeah, I'll show up. Yeah.
I make a movie about you every week for an hour.
You do, yeah. Well, it's not about
you're the co-star.
Me. I am the comic relief. It's your
clown.
channel. You are the star. I am the clown. Something familiar, something peculiar. Okay. A comedy tonight.
So we're going to have a full report next week about the big, grand opening night, the red carpet walk, what everybody was wearing.
Hello!
The best thing about the Academy Awards every year, by far, was Joan Rivers interviewing all the stars.
Yeah.
What are you
wearing?
Who are you wearing?
Yeah.
Who are you wearing?
She was great.
Yeah,
what a
Joan
sad
Rivers,
loss she is.
Yeah, and what an ignominious way to die.
Yeah.
I think that, and thousands of Americans die that way every year. Things go wrong in the OR. You're in your 70s, things go wrong in your body, and sometimes you die on the table.
She was 80-something when she died.
And it happens, but usually it happens to a postman or an auto factory worker. It doesn't happen to a big star. So, there you go. Odds are it's going to happen.
But luckily, thanks again to Mr. YouTube, there are hours and hours and hours of Joan Rivers that you can enjoy and will be able to for a long time.
I can remember my mother laughing. Joan was one of the most frequent guests on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And I can, as a small child, remember my mother laughing at Joan Rivers and thinking, she's just like you. She's just the two of you. You could be sisters. Look at you. So.
But they had a big falling out when she went and started her own show on the new Fox at the time, and Johnny Carson never spoke to her again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was, a lot of that going on. Anyway, there you go. I think that's about it for this week. We've covered quite a lot of territory, all the way from the streets of New York
to Turtle Beach.
So you've been able to hear the sounds of Turtle Beach for the past hour, and we very, very happily invite you to make your way to Turtle Beach at some time in the future. What is going to be our responsibility? And somebody asked me today, where is Turtle Beach? I can't find it on Google.
Yeah, well,
so you've sort of started something. So people want to come to Turtle Beach, but this is just a figment of your imagination.
Yeah, Turtle Beach and Boontongs only exist in my mind, and I am selling souvenirs from both Turtle Beach and Boontongs on my channel. If you want to buy, that's George. If you want to buy souvenirs from a place that only exists in Steve's mind, I called it Turtle Beach when I got here because nobody could either say, no Phalang can say Thai Muang, or they hear it and they go, Muang, ooh, it sounds gross. It sounds like you're coughing up phlegm. Ooh, that doesn't sound attractive.
I can't say it anyway.
So I just call it, because there's concrete turtles and turtle murals and turtle ashtrays everywhere. There's just turtles everywhere. So I called it Turtle
Titles.
Beach. Titles! And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, in fact, at my house. And I called it Turtle Beach, and the name is getting traction.
It just seems so.
Yeah, but if you're looking for it on Google Maps or
You
whatever,
will be disappointed.
you can either look for Boontongs Beach Bar, which I did manage to pin on Google Maps.
Amazing.
So Google Maps is saying, yes, what exists in Steve's mind is reality. So
Once
get
it's
ready.
on Google, it's real.
Exactly. So you can look for Boontongs Beach Bar, or you can look for Thai Muang, M-U-E-A-N-G. Muang, it means mine. Not Muang Thai, that means the nation or civic entity of Thailand. And the Thai is Sut Thai, the end of a series, so the end of the tin mine.
And we should also mention that Steve is a writer, or was a
Aw,
writer.
Thank you.
That's it.
There we go, we're done. Okay. We've
And,
listed Steve's CV, so we're done.
You can get his books on Amazon.
You can.
So Mr. Amazon at amazon.com, if you type in Steve Ross with an E, you'll find all sorts of books, including the book that has now been made into a huge Hollywood feature film.
You can find a book
Starring-
that holds the short story that was made into a huge Hollywood feature film.
George Clooney.
As Steve Ross. He's aged out of the role, but they do CGI to make him look younger.
And I was played by Joan Rivers. So thank you everybody for dropping in to Turtle Beach, to George's restaurant. George has just turned up.
George Pizza. Yeah, there's no possessive apostrophe S. It's just
George Pizza.
Yeah.
So it's probably the only place, if you want a bit of Farang food, it's the only place on
Yeah.
Turtle Beach you can get a pizza or a bit of steak.
Yeah, the Jip Pha Lele, the coffee shop up there, does a chicken burger and a hamburger with fries, and the fries are very good. But other than that, no, there's no Farang food.
Is it better
really
than the
here.
tuna sandwich we had last week?
About on a par, I would say. Same fries. I'm sure the fries come from the same supplier.
So when you come to see George Pizza, ask for George and say that you know about him because of
Grumpy old man.
the famous Tim Newton.
Yeah. I'll just leave now. I'm sorry.
Thank you for dropping in.
Oh, thank you for letting me drop. Thank you.
Good luck with your big premiere. Good luck
Yeah.
with your red carpet walk.
And a week later, my surgery.
Yes. So you're around next Sunday?
I'm in Bangkok Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I go to Phang to the hospital on the 15th. I don't know what day of the week that is.
So
but
today's
anyway,
the 7th.
yeah.
Okay, so we've got another week out of you.
Yeah.
We better record a few because
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen during the surgery.
Yeah.
But that's going to be, weeks of recuperation. Steve will be convalescing, I think they say. Oh, God, talk about grumpy. Oh,
Well,
it's
I
gonna
won't be riding the bicycle.
No, you won't be.
For sure, I'll have to get off the bicycle for probably a month, I would guess.
And to get to the airport on Monday, Steve is availing himself of the fine driving services that don't really have a name. Am I taking you to hospital as well?
No.
No?
And actually, you're not taking me to the airport either. We don't have. Yeah. My friend Hans is going down to do work on his rental property in Wawai on Monday, so he'll take me there.
I've been
and,
flung.
Sorry. Well, we're leaving at 7 in the morning, so you don't do 7 in the morning.
I'm starring in my my own production at that time.
But thank you for asking. It's very kind. And in the hospital, Hans and his wife will be coming to visit me every day. And in my convalescence, Kun Cham Nan will be here every day. And so, yeah, I think I won't be a burden on you, if that's what you were worried about.
See you next week.
See you next week. Thank you, Tim. I love this a lot, and I love you guys.
And thank you for
Sorry.
dropping in. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because that's what makes all this go around.
Yeah.
And from Turtle Beach to wherever you are, have a fantastic week. And thank you.
Thank you,
And
Tim.
we'll see you later.
Bye.